Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, it doesn't always get appreciated, but there's something to be said about having a self-assured style when it comes to being a filmmaker and an actor as well. And you know what? If you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals. We pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go on a limb and assume that you do, because quite frankly, you're listening right now. And if you are, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere. Places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on the social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, or is it still Twitter or is it X? No, but either way. Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, and, well, hey, probably some other stuff too, but at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large, because guess what? If we love to watch it and read about it and talk about it, we love it even more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So do us that kindness and pay us a visit. On this episode, we got a real fun one. It is coming out via a limited theatrical run with our friends in the South, from our friends over at Shout Studios in the South, but it's going to be available on video on demand everywhere. And the film is called Head Count, and it is the debut feature from Ben and Jacob Burghart. It is it's pretty much a love letter to the noir genre. There's a lot of Coen brothers in here. There's a lot of other stuff. It's a dirty, fun little movie, and it's the story of Cat, who after escaping prison, finds his own revolver pointed to his head by an unknown assailant. As the empty rounds click away, Cat tries to remember what happened to each bullet. Shot in Kansas with a bunch of Australians. This is actually a really good movie. I actually had a lot of fun with it, and we had the unique pleasure of sitting down and talking with the lead, the one and only Aaron Jakubenko, who plays Cat, and he does a great job in it. And it's a dirty little noir. Like, if you love Coen Brothers, if you love Blood Simple, if you love stuff like that, this is definitely going to be one of those movies that is up your alley. It's got a real distinct look to it, and it's really, really well done, and on basically a shoestring budget. But I mean, we had the chance to talk with Aaron about working with the brothers and just, you know, work in general, and so very much more. And I would like to remind everyone that this film did receive an interim agreement, so Aaron could talk to us, because obviously we do support the current ongoing actors' strike and hope it comes to a resolution first. But go check out Head Count if you're in the theaters in the States, or check it out on video on demand wherever you are this coming Friday, the 29th. But first off, enjoy our talk with Aaron, because it's a darn good one. All right, well, Aaron, man, just to kick this off, man, I mean, thank you so much for the time today. I mean, congrats on the movie, man. I thought you were fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. And honestly, with a little indie like this, it's people like yourself that really make it means a lot to us. So thanks for chatting to me.
For sure. Absolutely, man. Now, I guess my first question is, like, walk me through the origin of getting the script and seeing this part.
Yeah, this was interesting. It was, I mean, we were sort of closer to the back end of the sort of height of the pandemic. So things were a little quiet, and we moved through that stage. Films were opening up again. And a friend of mine was, he's one of the EPs on it, but he was sort of helping Tristan and the guys at Continuance put together the cast. And he sent me the script, he sent me the material, and sent me a link to, I don't know if it was the brothers' website or what it was, but I just got an influx of the brothers' material and, you know, what they'd shot in the past, some of their earlier short films, which were the one that they did just before this was, I forget the name, but it was just really beautifully shot. So I was like, okay, they know what they're doing visually. And then I was looking through their references, and they had some amazing films, After Hours, Blood Simple, all these really beautiful nostalgic films that it was hard not to liken them to early Coen brothers. And I think I've read recently someone was saying they sort of have that nostalgic Coen brothers feel, but in their own fresh take. And I saw that in their vision, I saw that in their style, and I'm just really in awe that they carried it through the film. And I think the end result really shows that.
No, for sure, man. Absolutely. It's one of those movies that harkens back to not just Coen's, but I mean, so many different vibes. But I mean, I'm curious from your perspective, because this was a physical part you really kind of had to throw yourself into, like, and especially, shooting on an indie on a, limited budget, limited time. Like, I can imagine it's just sort of go, 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 go. Like, was there time to sort of find the character and to sort of get into where, the right mindset, or did you just have to hit the ground running?
Honestly, I'm laughing because it was so fast. It was, when I was in the sort of early talk stage with the brothers, they said to me, if they were standing in the same room as me, they probably would have grabbed me by the scuff and said, "This is going to be fast. Can you do this?" And I assured them I'm a hard worker, and I knew what I was getting into. That said, it was still very fast. I've done some Australian soaps and things which are fast, but a lot of the things that I've done over the last 10 years, they have somewhat of a budget. Some of the network shows, and you have more time to breathe. You have more time to bring on these sort of, that undercurrent of who that character is. This was, I think I had maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks of prep, maybe a little more. I got COVID during that time.
Oh, no.
So I was out of it. Then I cleaned up from that. And I think I had a couple of days at home before I sort of went out to Kansas. And then we hit the ground running pretty quickly. And yeah, it was fun. I think the boys were doing about 40 different setups a day, I think they were saying. And yeah, so it was fast. It was wild. They were so supportive. They also trusted my instinct on things, and so that was nice. We got to be able to just move through it. And yeah, I mean, sure, sometimes you prefer a little more time on set, but sometimes getting lost in the whirlwind's a lot of fun.
Well, and I mean, speaking of the whirlwind, Australia to Kansas, it's definitely like it's almost quite literally the other side of the world. I can imagine just being able to do something like this and to be somewhere again, I mean, that you've never been before, is got to be a bit of a trip as an actor as well.
Yeah, you know what the trip was? The trip was being an Australian in Kansas with two other actors who are Australians, Ryan Quanton and Melanie. They're both Australians, and then two of the producers are actually Australians as well. That's, I think, how they got all of us on board. But that was a trip. I was out there expecting to hear the Kansan sort of vibe, but yeah, look, I loved Kansas. It was beautiful, and Missouri, it was really, I have a feeling a lot more is going to be shot there. They were starting to push that sort of route and film and TV path, and I think I was saying there must be something in the water out in Kansas, because the entire crew were incredible. If we talk about it being challenging for the actor, being fast, trying to get the shots fast, the costume lady, Bo, she had to create these incredible costumes, and I love the styles of the costumes. Production designer, Corey, she had to, one of the Jesus set is all I'll say, was one of the most beautiful, interesting sets that I've seen. And I think this was her debut feature film. And so she was incredible. The camera, lighting, all of them were just really top class. Yeah, I was really excited to work with them all.
Now, I mean, I'm curious, how important is it for you as an actor to try to balance sort of the bigger shoots versus some of the indie things like this, where you get a little bit more, I guess, maybe creative rope to play and have fun with? Because I mean, you've had extended runs on things like Neighbors, Shannara, Spartacus, that kind of thing. And I can imagine that to this are two very different beasts when it comes to working.
Yeah, I think as an actor, it's really hard to feel like you have any sense of control. You get this character sort of not thrown on you, but you get this character that you get to dissect and really play with, and you can definitely bring your own stuff. You can really play with it. But this level of indie, and particularly how fast it was, you get a lot more playtime And honestly, it was just fun having that really fast-paced but intimate coaching relation with the directors. They were sort of there, and yeah, it was a really interesting experience in that sense. I think some of the bigger ones you can kind of get lost just being another link in the chain, so to speak. But this was, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Kat being the center of the film was also gave me a lot to dive into as well.
For sure. Now, I mean, I'm curious, like for you as an actor, like when you're reading something, like what is it that makes it stand out for you? Is it just a question of being able to try something new, or is it like, is it character, is it material? Because I mean, full disclosure, man, like I loved you in Great White. I thought that was so much fun. I thought that movie was fantastic. But I mean, walk me through, I guess, your process, because I mean, obviously sometimes you're going to read and then sometimes there might be an offer, but it's like it's always going to have to be a balance. Like what do you try to find when you're reading a script?
Yeah, I mean, the script is the foundation for sure. If you don't have a solid script, it's going to be hard to have a beautiful film at the end. So first and foremost, the script and the story and sort of how that unfolds is at the forefront of my mind. And I think this film was interesting because I'd never really seen that sort of, but it was a really interesting take on, we find this guy in this moment and it's life or death, and then he's sort of piecing together how he got there. So there's that piece. But then really for me with this one, it was the directors and their style. If their style, if their vision, if their sort of, at that time, their seeming ability to be able to capture that, which they did, me putting my hope and my faith and my trust and respect in Ben, that was probably the biggest determinant for me in saying yes to doing this film. And I'm really grateful that I did. I'm really grateful that they are such visionaries who have this, this interesting style that they sort of follow. Yeah.
It definitely felt like one of those movies where you really had to be committed. I mean, especially with sort of the visual aesthetic of it as well. I mean, even just sort of the idea of the gun barrel and the turning, like it really kept you engaged on a different level. And I mean, I absolutely loved it. And I mean, I've got to ask, like, while you're shooting this, do you know it's going to work? Because I mean, obviously you can be on shows and jobs, and you're never going to know until you see it. But I could definitely feel that from the energy. I mean, with you, with Melanie, with Ryan, it felt like there was the right energy. Like people were enjoying themselves and kind of bought into the material.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you do never know. It's a really good point. That's why, earlier I was saying you put your hope and your trust in these directors and their vision. And you look at the people involved and you look at the material that we're drawing from, and the past speaks louder than anything. And I think the last short film that they did was a simple horror sort of short, but it was stunning. It was really, really beautiful. And for me, that put a lot of confidence moving forward. And then on set, you're watching dailies, you're watching a little bit of material here and there, and visually it was stunning. Christopher Commons and the camera department, the lighting department, they did a wonderful job with that. So you really start to trust that it's all playing together. So then I guess for me, it was just my performance, and sort of some of it was so fast. Some of the comedic stuff was quite challenging. I'm trying to be this straight guy with this whirlwind of hilarious events surrounding him. And that was challenging. So, certain pieces you're never quite sure of, but as we progressed, I started to feel more and more confident that the brothers were really getting their vision.
Would it be fair to say if Ben and Jacob called you back, you'd be ready for whatever?
Probably a week in, I started saying to them, I cannot wait to see them with a bigger budget.
Yeah.
Because I really think I actually really do think they're incredible. I think a lot of directors, they struggle to get their style across on film. I think the brothers really did. It wasn't just some generic style. It was, they really sort of found that. And I think that's hard to do as a director. They did it with this minimal shoestring budget. I cannot wait to see what they do with more of a budget. And I pray that they'll keep looking at me.
No, but you're right, man. They were very self-assured. And I mean, this is a movie that really, really, really does stand out. And I can't wait for more and more people to see it. But I'm just curious, just to start putting a bow on this, man. Can you think back, sort of young Aaron watching TV at home? Was there a movie or a moment that had the light bulb go off in your head and be like, I want to be an actor. I want to do this?
Look, I loved film and TV growing up, and whatever anyone feels about him now, I don't want to talk about that. But Mel Gibson in The Patriot has this singular moment where his son dies, and I remember seeing that and just being so moved, believing this performance, and wondering how a human can evoke these sort of emotions and feelings on screen. And that for me was a really big influence for what I wanted to pursue. I never thought I'd act. I was a builder by trade. I was in construction, and I'm actually renovating my house at the moment. But yeah, but I seeing that and then sort of starting to dabble into it myself. That and many other things, but that was a specific moment that really hit me.
No, I'm curious. I mean, I'd love your perspective on this because it really does feel like, given the streaming boom and the advent of home entertainment and all that kind of stuff, there is more and more of a sort of audience or market for some of that Ozploitation stuff, some of that stuff that came out of Australia that maybe audiences didn't know then but know now. And I mean, what is it about the Australian scene that seems to be developing so many working actors who are coming to North America and working consistently?
Yeah, I think firstly, it's quite a process to be able to come out here and work. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, for sure.
So you have to have already established a lot of work in Australia. Some people get a little luckier. They sort of manage to book a big role coming out. But most Australian actors that are working are very hardworking. They're very hungry for more. I don't know if it's that convict sort of in us, but there's definitely a hard work ethic and just a love for the craft. But I don't know. I mean, I really think there's so many wonderful Australian actors. There's also so many wonderful North American actors, and I don't know. I just feel very grateful to be a part of this beautiful and exciting industry. And I think after going through the pandemic and sort of seeing how much we relied on the creatives, it gave me a lot of pride in what we all do. Journalists, creatives, we're all, on that same path of sharing stories with humanity, and that can be a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, amen to that, man. You're absolutely right. But I mean, honestly, keep breaking those rocks in the hot sun and doing good work like you did here with this film, man, because honestly, it was so much fun. I had such a ride with it. I can't wait for more people to see it. But Aaron, again, congrats on the work, and thank you so much for the time today.
No, thanks, Evan. I really appreciate it. Thanks for chatting.
Sure. And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.